Welcome into AZ Audibles. I'm Haley Stasiak alongside Eric Sorensen and Jordan Ham. We've been talking a lot about spring football in recent weeks and how the players are kind of getting readjusted. But this week, let's talk about the coaches who are kind of adjusting to new programs. Rich Welbrock is now at Basha from Desert Edge, and while he was there, he really had a tight-knit kind of family community there. So I definitely think that he's going to bring that to Basha. And they're kind of coming off, the Bears are coming off a not so great season. So Welbrock will definitely come in and turn things around for them. And you've seen over there in Chandler, they're the epicenter of high school football. They've got Perry coming off of a great season, and of course Chandler and Hamilton are always great. So now it's Welbrock's turn to really make Basha great. Eric, what about you? Who do you see?
For me, it's Randy Dorf. Comes down from Show Low, where he was there for a decade. He only had 2 losing seasons, won 100 games. You do the math. 100 wins in 10 years. Pretty simple formula. The guy just knows how to win. Now he's going to be at American Leadership Academy in Gilbert. The sky is really the limit for that program. It's a charter school. They want to get into the AIA, and like I said, with his coaching success and his formula for developing players, I think that's a win-win situation in the East Valley.
And for me, I'm going to take a slightly different approach. Over at Notre Dame Prep, George Prelock, he's taking over. There was a lot of animosity the past year or two over at Notre Dame Prep. They went 8-2 last year, a very good team, but they were banned from the postseason by the AIA for multiple reasons. So it's time to close that chapter, start a new one. Prelock is an inside hire. He was the freshman coach. He's familiar with a lot of these guys who are returning from that 8-2 team. So he's going to be one that we need to look at to make sure that he's turning this team around.
And I think for the Saints, they just want to focus on football. So many distractions between the light situation and the off-the-field things. Just for them to get back to the X's and O's is going to be great.
Well, it is the off season. Coaches are going to start kind of figuring out their players and where each guy fits on both sides of the line. Who are some players that play both ways that we're kind of keeping an eye on?
For me, it's Elijah Gammage over at Desert Vista. He was a former quarterback before he transferred to the Thunder. He played behind center at Valley Christian, had 9 passing touchdowns, 7 rushing touchdowns as a sophomore. Last year, in his first year at DV, real ball hawk in Dan Hines' defense. 7 interceptions, 4 pass deflections. And in talking to Coach, he sort of sees his role on offense being a little bit everywhere. Could line up at quarterback, could line up at running back, could line up in the slot. And when you have someone who is aggressive on both sides of the ball, that's really a difference maker when you're going up against some of those power schools that DV faces.
And Coach Hines also does a good job of identifying those two-way guys. James Stagg is also over there, a big-time tight end and defensive end.
A rising prospect.
Who's really blowing up.
You mentioned those guys that are aggressive on both sides of the ball. I'm keeping my eye on Josiah Bradley out of Saguaro. He's going to be replacing Stone Matthews at running back, and he played safety for the SaberCats. He had 25 tackles, 11 of those solos, and 3 interceptions for 59 yards. Offensively, he had 652 rushing yards with 9 touchdowns. I think Saguaro is going to continue to keep rolling, especially with him on both sides of the ball.
And not to confuse everybody, you did Josiah Bradley. I have Josiah Bailey over at Kellis High School.
There you go.
He's been a multi-year starter over there at Kellis. The past two years, 3,000 all-purpose yards, 37 touchdowns. On defense, he had 47 tackles, 4.5 for loss, and then 4 interceptions.
Yeah, that's getting it done.
Both sides of the ball, he just fills up the stat sheet and is a very versatile weapon. They like to use him on offense at the running back position, as a receiver. They, like Elijah Gammage, they can move him around quite a bit.
That's what we've got for you this week on AZ Audibles. Be sure to check out Eric's zone read and more of our high school football content on sports360az.com. We'll see you next week.